ونصلي على رسوله الكريم أما بعد. Okay. Today's the last day of Shamaail Tirmidhi. Inshallah, from tomorrow we will begin Riyadh al-Salihin. And so we're going to go through some of these ahadith. The topic on the poetry of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, I'm going to skip to keep something more relevant as our last class. How about the storytelling of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam? This is a very, very long one, but it's an interesting one. I like this. I like this one. Okay. Aisha radiallahu anha says that once at night, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam related an event to his family members. One of the ladies said, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam told us a story. Okay. He sat down and he said, there was a lady, and one of the ladies said, the story is just like the stories of Khurafa. The Arabs used to use the stories of Khurafa as proverbs. The Prophet ﷺ asked, do you know what is the original story of Khurafa? Khurafa was a man from the tribe of Banu Udra, whom the jinns took away. They kept him from some time, then left him amongst the people. He related to people strange things what he saw there. This is why people were astonished. After that, every amazing story is called Khurafat. Ye Khurafat band karo. No, Khurafat you hear in Urdu is from Khurafa. So Khurafa was an individual who was abducted by jinns. And the jinnat and all the weird things he saw by jinnat is what he used to relate in his stories. We'll share this as well so that those online can benefit from the new story that's coming up. Okay. Aisha radiallahu anha reports, once 11 women assembled and made an agreement that each of them would describe the true state of their husbands without hiding any fact. How many people have heard the hadith of Zar'a? So the first woman said, my husband is like the meat of a useless camel, as if he is a piece of meat that has no life left in it, and also the like of the meat of a camel that is generally not preferred. So my husband is meat, yeah, but nobody wants him. And the meat also put on top of a mountain which is difficult to climb. So the first thing is that my husband isn't good looking, he isn't attractive, there's nothing that I like about him, and on top of that he acts very hard to get. Like if that really terrible meat, like you have a part of the animal that is very rough and it's not expensive, it's cheap, and then someone puts it on top of a mountain, you have to go so far. Why would anyone put that much difficulty? Nor is the meat of much value that because of one it should separate it into 100 lots and carry it down. He says that the meat isn't even valuable, it's not good. So the first one is talking about our husband, that Allah's given me a husband, but very useless and very difficult to deal with. The second woman said, she says, if I do describe my husband, what can I describe about him? I have nothing to say about him. I fear that if I begin to describe his fault, there will be no end to it. If I begin, I will have to mention all his inner and outer faults. I'm trying to pull up the hadith in Arabic here. Mm-mm. There we go. So she says, if I talk about his faults, then I have to say everything. My husband is very bad. His inside, outside. This hadith is in Bukhari, by the way. So she says, زوجي لا أبث خبره إني أخاف ألا أذره إن أذكر عجره وبجره. That if I mention it, then I have to mention everything. And all of it. So this husband has too many bad qualities. The third woman says, my husband is al-ashannaq. In antiq utallaq wa in askut uallaq. He says, my husband is an ashannaq, which is a very tall man. Yes, it got good that I married someone who was tall, but if I say anything, he will immediately give me a divorce. If I keep silent, I just hang around there. So this man has just kept me stuck, that he neither lets me be happy and he neither lets me leave. So he keeps me struggling inside at home, that I can't express anything. If I express anything, I'm out. If I stay quiet, I still have to stick around. So I can't go back to my own home. My family is difficult. My parents are difficult. My relatives are difficult. The fourth woman says, my husband is mild-mannered. She says, زوجي كليل التهامة لا حر ولا قر ولا مخافة ولا سامة. My husband is mild. He's like the night wind of Tihama. He is not hot nor cold, nor is there anything to fear of him, nor any displeasure. You know those people, very quiet, basic, they don't say much. My husband is like this. He's just like the wind. It comes, you notice it sometimes, and sometimes you don't notice it. When it's there, it doesn't bother you, but you don't sit outside looking for it either. Its presence doesn't harm you. Its presence doesn't harm you, but its absence also doesn't bother you. The fifth woman said, when my husband comes inside the house, زوجي إن دخل فهدا وإن خرج أسدا ولا يسأل عما أحدا. She says, when my husband comes inside the house, he is a cheetah, and when he goes out, he becomes a lion. He doesn't care what happens inside the house. What does it mean? A lion means that when he is outside, he is very brave, very strong. He has a very strong personality. But what are we? We are sheep outside and lions at home. We're sheep outside and we're lions at home. Over here, she says fahida, meaning that at home, though he's a lion, but he succumbs himself and he becomes gentle at home. And outside, he is very brave and he is very well known, and his personality is very, very popular and very feared. But he doesn't also micromanage at home. That is why husbands shouldn't micromanage at home. What did you do today? What were you doing at 9 a.m.? What time did you wake up? What time did you sleep? What did you clean the house? Who did you talk to? Who are you with? Where were you sitting? What have you been doing? Allahu Akbar. Give her a little break. What is this? He does not care to investigate what happens in the house. Don't micromanage. It becomes struggling for everybody. The sixth woman says, زوجي إن أكل لف وإن شرب اشتف. My husband, when he eats the whole world. And when he drinks, he can't stop drinking. He does not leave anything. وإن اضطجع التف ولا يولج الكف يعلم البث. Their eloquence is also very remarkable. This hadith is very, the Arabic is very difficult, and Aisha radhiyallahu anha is narrating it. It shows the intelligence of Aisha radhiyallahu anha. She says, when he sleeps in his own sheet. He does not even touch me so that he can know the disturbance in my mind. That some husbands, they only care about food, drink, and their own personality. They don't look for the pleasure of their wife. And every husband should be cognizant of this. It is a sin to not fulfill the rights of your spouses. The seventh one says, زوجي غيايا أو عيايا طبقاء كل داء له داء شجك أو فلك أو جمع كلا لك. He says, my husband is impotent and unmanly. He is such a dunce that he cannot even speak. Whatever sickness a person has in this world, he possesses it. His manners are such that he may break my head or injure my body or do both. So my husband is not even a real man. And number two, he doesn't even speak properly, completely sick. But then at the end of the day, he's very abusive at home as well. He's got nothing good about him. And on top of that, he's abusive. Most of these women don't like their husband. If you have a good husband, you can comment in the comments below and we can see whose husbands are good. Assalam Qari Ishaq. Nice to hear from you as well. May Allah barakat and bless you and keep you happy. Okay. The eighth woman says, Zawji al-massu massu arnabin wa rihu rihu zarnabin. She says, my husband is soft like a rabbit. When I touch him, his smell is like the fragrance of za'faran and saffron. That my husband, he's not hairy. He isn't overly brute, but very soft skin and very well kept. She's got something nice thing to say about her husband. The ninth woman, she says, زوجي رفيع العماد طويل النجاد عظيم الرماد قريب البيت من ناد. She says, my husband is of high status, generous, hospitable, owner of a high dwelling. He has a lot of ashes. He is tall. His home is near the Majlis and Darul Mashwara. Meaning that my husband is very well respected. That my husband, he is very well respected. He is noble. He's wealthy. And he has a lot of ashes. Ashes means that ashes only come when something is burnt. Like wood. And wood is burnt when something is heated. And something is heated when food is cooked. So what it's trying to say is that my husband has a lot of ashes, meaning that our home has a lot of food and dawats, and there's always hospitality, and there's always khair and afiyah, and there's always barakah happening in our home. And that is why a home should always have dawats and should have food being sent, being put in. If you cannot have anyone over in Ramadan, at least give iftar to other people's homes. I know we have a iftar drive here, I think on Saturday or something. Support them, inshallah. Support the Islamic Center of Aubrey. Whichever way capacity you can. May Allah put barakat and bless. Okay. And he is by Darul Mashwara. What does it mean? People consult him. They talk to him. They ask him advice. The 10th woman. Zawji Malik. وَمَا مَالِكٌ مَالِكٌ خَيْرٌ مِنْ ذَلِكَ. She says, my husband is Malik. Or what can I tell you about Malik? He is the most generous and the most praised person in all the worlds. لَهُ إِبِلٌ كَثِيرَاتٌ الْمُبَارِكِ قَلِيلَاتٌ. He owns so many camels. He says that, or he is praiseworthy than all the praises I may shower on him. This is a wife that every husband wants. But in order for that, you have to be like Malik too. He owns many camels, many cars, many businesses which are kept by the house. They are seldom taken out for grazing. When the camels hear the sound of the mizhar, they are sure that their end is near. Meaning that he will always have food being cooked at home. وَإِذَا سَمِعْنَا صَوْتَ الْمِزْهَرِ أَيْقَنَّ أَنَّهُ هَوَالِكُ قَالَتِ الْحَادِيَةُ عَشَرَةُ. And the main story is the 11th one. The 11th one has the main story. And she says, Zawji Abu Zar. My husband is Abu Zar. Wama Abu Zar. What can I tell you about Abu Zar? Anasun min huliyin udunayya wa mala'a min shahmi abudayya wa bajjahani fabajihat ilayya nafsi wajadani fi ahli ghunaymatin bishiqqin faja'alani fi ahli sahilin. He says, what can I tell you about Abu Zar? He filled my ears with jewelries, and my hands with jewelries, and my neck with jewelries. And they preferred women. That food was very scarce in those days. So everybody was thin. But they preferred to have women who were more healthier. And وَلِلنَّاسِ فِيمَا يَعْشَقُونَ مَذَاهِبُ. So he says that he fed me well. I became so fat. He kept me so happy and contented that due to self-admiration and hoitiness, I thought I was virtuous. She said that I myself began to think I was the best woman in the world. He found me in a poor home. فَجَعَلَنِي فِي أَهْلِ صَهِيلٍ. He put me in a that lived in hardship. وَأَطِيتٍ وَدَائِسٍ وَمُنَقٍ فَعِنْدَهُ أَقُولُ فَلَا أُقَبِّحُ وَأَرْقُدُ فَأَتَصَبَّحُ وَأَشْرَبُ. She says, he found me from such a poor home that lived with hardships, owning only a few goats for a living. We didn't have much money. From there, he brought me into such a prosperous family who owned horses, camels, oxes, plowing, gardeners, every type of wealth he had. He did not criticize me or scold me. He never said anything bad to me. She says that I slept till, besides all that he has, let me put this later further. He did not criticize me, scold me, or anything. I slept till late in the morning and no one was allowed to wake me up. Imagine this type of husband. Food was abundant, but after filling myself, I just left it. It never got finished. And other people would eat it, clean it. I didn't have to do any work. Never made fun of my weight. Never told me to do anything. She's like, I had everything in the world. Then she says, the mother of Abu Zar'a. God, the boy was amazing. The husband was amazing. Oh, can I tell you about his mother? My mother-in-law is the best as well. So she says, the mother of Abu Zar'a, what can I tell you and praise about the mother of Abu Zar'a? She says her huge utensils were always full. Meaning that her house is very spacious. She was very rich. And according to the habit of women, was not a miser. In those days, the women didn't spend much. But here, she spent a lot. And the vastness of her house meant that there were a lot of guests that came. And she says, this was my husband. His mother was amazing. On top of that, my husband's son was amazing too, Abu Zar'a. The son of Abu Zar'a, in what manner can I praise him? He was also a light upon light. He was so thin and skinny. They liked thin boys. And sleeping part of his body was thin like a branch or a sword. A side of a lamb was enough to fill his stomach, meaning he didn't eat much. There was no great formalities for a brave one to sleep like a soldier. He slept a little, befitting a warrior. 2 or 3 pieces of meat was his food. He was agile. And the boy I loved, the father, a husband I loved, the mother was amazing too. Now the daughter of Abu Zar'a, what can I tell you about her? She obeys her mother and father. She is fat and healthy and a jealousy for the second wife. Meaning the second wife feels jealous on her excellence. How amazing. Because it was common in those days to have multiple wives. If she got married to someone, the second wife would definitely be jealous of her. My wife, the girl was also beautiful and gorgeous. And then she goes on and she says, among the Arabs, it is desirable for a man to be thin and tall and a woman to be fat and healthy. And how can I praise? This is the Abu Zar'a was amazing. His mom was amazing. His son was amazing. His daughter was amazing. Even the slaves at his home were amazing. She never gossiped about our home affairs to anyone. She did not even use food without permission. She did not let the house become dirty or untidy, but kept it clean. She said the days passed wonderfully. One morning, while the utensils of milk were being churned, Abu Zar'a went out of the house. He found a woman with 2 cheetahs like children, playing with pomegranates. They were lying down, and meaning that she was so chubby that the kids were rolling pomegranates from under her back, or the children were playing with the mother. He loved her so much that he divorced me and married her. I was divorced because as a second wife, she would become a heart sore. And by divorcing me, the new wife would have greater regard for him. Understand? I was divorced because as a second wife, she would become a heart sore. And by divorcing me, the new wife would have greater regards for him. In one narration, it is mentioned that he married her, he then divorced me. Subsequently, I married another chief and noble man who was a prince and soldier. He showered on me many gifts and from each type of animal. He presented me a pair and said, eat as much as you want yourself, send to your parents, and keep as much as you wish. The fact is that if I add up all his good qualities, then too he will not excel the little thing that Abu Zar'a bestowed upon me. Aisha radiallahu anha says, after Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam completed the story, he said, I am also to you as Abu Zar'a had to Zar'a. I'm also good to you the way Abu Zar'a was to Zar'a. Anyway, this is one of my favorite stories. It's a long story, interesting story, but nevertheless, it's a famous story. Questions? How do I advise my dad on something? It's not really in my nature to do so. I feel like however I do it, I'm going to end up hurting his feelings. Say it nicely. And if not, tell someone else. There's a saying in Urdu, beti ko sunate bahu maqsood hai. You tell the daughter, but the intention is the daughter-in-law. You don't have to say directly to daughter. You can talk about it on the phone with a friend, and your daughter will get the message. You'll get the idea, what you're trying to say. You don't have to directly say it. If anyone has any other questions, you can comment them below. How many of you heard this story for the first time? No? Okay. TK. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.